Right, been asked an awful lot of what sort of hand tools is best to use for dismantling machines. So if you're looking to dismantle or fix a few tools, what sort of kit do you need to start out? Obviously, the first thing, most basic, screwdrivers. Phillips 1 and 2 and a couple of different flats. And also Torx. Ones to buy, Wera, that brand there. I'll stick a link in the bottom to a few of these if I can. But the most used tool in number 3 or 3mm flat screwdriver. This is a Tang one. They're going to get you started anyway without a doubt for opening stuff up. The other thing you're going to need, a set of Allen keys. Metric and more than likely Imperial. Pliers, these are the ones I always go for. These are the Draper Expert Ergo. These are like a 4-in-1 plier for the wee boostless ferrules and insulated ferrules. If they're for cramping them, they cut 3.5 and 4mm threads. And for wire stripping, 1mm and 1.5 for the top of them, plus the very end can be used for cutting cable ties. Very good set, very comfortable to use. They get used all the time. The other set is just wire strippers. These are channel lock set. They also for crimping, but I only ever use them for stripping cable down to the correct size, take off the insulation. So for cabling, replacing wires, they're the main things you're going to use. The other set of pliers you want to invest in is a set of ratcheting pliers. These are just Draper Expert as well. Like the crimps, very handy to have. The other most used tool in the workshop is a multimeter. You're going to be pulling that out all the time. If you're starting out and you don't know an awful lot about electronics or wiring and that sort of stuff, or motors, you're just starting to learn, you will still need one of these here. You do not need to know an awful lot about them. You do not need to buy a big expensive one. Repairing machines, the main thing you're going to be using is continuity. You're not going to be using amps. You're not going to be using big voltages. You might use the diode tester. This one does also have a capacitor tester. That is very handy to have. The other one is just voltage. Normal DC voltage for testing batteries and that. That's a wee cheap and cheerful one off of Amazon. Kind of looks like a fluke one, but it's not. Very cheap. Very handy to have. Nice and small. Big screen. Light and all on it if you want. But yeah, definitely recommend that wee boy. Leads as well, quite comfortable to use, not too stiff. Apart from that, the other thing you're going to want is different types of bits and screwdrivers. It's just a bacho set I have here in my own workshop. A couple of long Torx, pauses, flats, and then a selection then of small ones, 25mm for the magnetic holders. Decent set to have. Better to be looking at them than looking for them when it comes to different size of butt heads, Torx and all that there. So that's worthwhile getting that. The other one for repairs, soldering iron. Don't need anything expensive again. Again, cheapy one off Amazon. Has a variable temperature on it. If you are getting that one, don't set it to the high temperature. They just blow every time. But for most applications, that's fine. The other thing you want to get eventually, if you're doing a lot of repairs, drill and impact. Very handy to have, especially the impact. You can pick up a small set of 10.8 volt screwdrivers. Very cheap now. And we Makita sets weren't that expensive. I think the ones you get now actually have the square battery instead. That wee round one. A wee bit bigger, but still very good to have. Obviously the other thing you're going to need eventually, especially for chucks, is a grinder. Not necessarily a cordless one, but you will need some sort of 4.5-inch grinder. If you're getting a corded one, I'd recommend the small Bosch one. Other one's in. Adjustable pliers. Vice grips. Don't use them an awful lot, but again, you will eventually need them. Everybody should have a set of vice grips about them anyway. For bearings then, you'll need a set of pullers. This is just a set of mini pullers. Same kind as you use in the workshop. On off back bearings especially. Using these an awful lot. For cordless stuff, you will be getting batteries on, different tools. You will need to pick up a selection of batteries. But for batteries to come on or dead, you will need something like a LiPo charger, because batteries won't always be charged when they come on, or they need to be tested. That charges everything up to about the 24 volts. Won't do the 36 volt stuff, but it'll do up to 18 volts, no problem. LiPo, that'll charge. Lithium, no problem at all. So doesn't matter what brand comes on, you can charge it. Make sure it's there to test on the machine itself. One thing I will say, and batteries, if you are thinking of doing repairs, don't repair batteries. Fair enough, it's for yourself. I'll actually be fixing this one up later on, putting a different board onto it, a wee copy board. Don't do it for other people, because lithium batteries are dangerous to say the least. If they go up in fire, you're in bother. It can happen very easily. The only thing you can do with them is replace faulty boards and replace cells. If you mess it up and somebody takes that home and charges it, and that goes up in smoke in their house and burns the house down, you do not want to be liable. Leave batteries alone. Generally, I don't fix them at work unless it's a very simple fix. I do not replace boards and I do not replace cells. I think I've done one video just to show how you can replace cells if you want it. But in general, wouldn't recommend repairing batteries for anybody. It can just be too risky. If you're starting out, that's the sort of stuff you're going to need. Everything else you're going to get bit by bit. Buy it as you need it. Main thing you're going to need: screwdrivers, pliers, Allen keys, multimeter, selection of bits. They're the main things you're going to need. Everything else, get them as you need them.